Well, you never thought you'd see me again, I bet, but here we go, the first one of 2026. And my day just got interesting because believe it or not, I forgot how old I am. So Snoop's laughing right now. I can see him off to the side of the screen. So I'm bringing in Snoop Von Poop, my buddy. He's coming in today, and we're just going to shoot the shit. This was completely not a planned thing other than up until yesterday, and we just kind of hit each other up. So I'm going to bring him in, and we're just going to find out what the year has in store for us, or at least what we want to do. So, Snoop, welcome.
So what? You're 58 today? Is that what it is?
Well, dude, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the morning, I feel like 58, but actually, for some reason, I thought I was 52, rolling into 53. That's not accurate at all.
No,
My
no,
wife
that
just told
was
me,
last year when we recorded.
yeah, last year when we recorded, I was
Dude,
52, rolling into 53.
I feel like I was your first guest last year too. It feels like because I was trying to think of that first episode we did together. I think was audio only. I don't even think we did video.
Yeah, it might have been audio only. And speaking of, God damn it, dude, I'm going to hit the record button. I am terrible. So I'm hitting the record button and I'm going to start this bitch over. So just hang tight for a second.
It says live.
Well, yeah, but not on the Roadcaster for the
Oh,
audio part. So,
is this your first podcast? What the
oh, dude, this is fucking amateur hour. You know what, dude?
and I'm the one.
No, that I'm not even going to hit the intro again. I'm just going to tell everybody straight out of the gate. If you listen to this, this is absolutely 100% amateur hour because every time I do this, if I do video at the same time, I always forget to hit the record button for the audio. And luckily I caught it this time a minute into it, but there's been podcasts where I've been 15 minutes into it and looked down and realized I wasn't recording the audio. So I had to go back and finagle the audio off of the video.
Dude,
Oh, Jesus.
imagine Terry Date goes, "Hey, Dime, I'm sorry. I forgot to hit record."
that was a ripping solo, but it's gone.
We're going to have to do it again.
That happened to Pink Floyd one time. When they were recording the Animals record.
That's my favorite one.
Oh, yeah. My favorite Pink Floyd record by far is Animals. And I hate Roger Waters with a passion. The guy's a douche of the highest regard. But anyways, so they were Gilmore had recorded an awesome guitar solo, and they had accidentally recorded over it. So somewhere out there in the universe is this ripping guitar solo on one of those songs, and it's gone forever. It's just floating out there in space because they recorded over it. Dude, how do you do that?
So I had on a VHS tape, I had some old footage of when I was a ball boy for the Phoenix Suns, which is like irreplaceable. Like I can't get that footage anymore. Right. And one of my old roommates, I think, recorded over it because like I popped the tape in one day and I was like, what the fuck? This is not me. What's going on here?
So, all right, man. So the reason we have gathered today is
for Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, it is Martin Luther King Day. And not why we gathered here, but just because our schedules aligned today. But it's 2026.
Yep.
And let's do this. Everybody always says that their New Year's resolution is they're going to go to the gym. And I think at this point, we're both too fucking old for that.
Wow, dude. I'm not even near your age.
Bullshit. I'm only rolling into 54, so Snoop can't be far behind me. Or you might even be ahead of me, dude. I don't know.
I'll be 46 this year.
Okay. Yeah, you're not going to the gym.
Yeah, you gotta remember when we hung out in the 90s, I was a minor. Well, I wasn't a minor, but I wasn't 21.
Right. So it's 2026. Give me a resolution for you for 26.
Dude, I don't, I've never really been a resolution maker. Like I feel like it's just kind of like you're setting yourself up to let yourself down. You know what I mean? Like you make these goals all year long. You don't just set it for one day a year. Oh, I'm gonna go to the gym this year. Fuck that, dude. If it's June, I'm gonna go to the gym today. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But um, the only real like goal that I really had in mind was just to grow my own podcast, which is called the Here's the Thing podcast. For those of you out
Right.
there that don't know, got these sweet ass hats made.
Nice.
Um, yeah. Shout out to printingstudio.com for making this. But that's really the only like real goal I really set was just to grow the podcast some more.
Right. I would the last couple days, and I don't know, for some reason it's been hitting me kind of hard. And I know why, because I have one of my best friends is really, really terribly sick and may not make it, most likely he's not going to be around much longer. And it's really that bums me out, obviously, and not to take this thing on a downer, but when something like that is happening, you start to reevaluate your own self, and there's a lot of things that I like doing that I don't do enough. And
Example?
what's that?
I said example.
Well, example would be like when I go out and look for ghosts and I go out and do and exploring and do cool stuff like that. The other thing is play drums, which I've done barely at all over the last 5, 6 years at all. And that used to be, that was what I did for a living, and I haven't done any of that. And
Oh,
then the
I,
other
I
thing
see. I
is,
seen you post. I think it was last week or the week before. You did you filled in for somebody or played a gig or something, and you were really excited about it. And I was like, oh man, that's cool to see
oh,
you
and
playing
that
again.
was, yeah, that was a while back. A buddy of mine had asked me if this is what you're talking about. A buddy of mine was doing a gig with his band. He's a drummer, and they were doing Led Zeppelin
No, no,
4.
no, no, no. You
No,
just
no?
not that one because I remember we talked about that on another stream. I remember.
Oh, right, right.
But no, you just did something.
Oh, I was playing gigs with my buddy who's sick. We were playing gigs for like a month and a half every Friday and Saturday night. And if that's what no, I know what you're talking about. It was, maybe I had posted that I had got together with my buddies from my first band, which we do every once in a while, but now we're going to start doing it regularly just because we have fun doing it. And we don't have any plans of like playing a gig or anything. We just get together, we meet up at the Sand Dollar, have a couple pizzas, have a beer or two, go play for an hour and a half, and then go back to the Sand Dollar, have another drink, and call it a night. It's like our old men ritual.
It's so
And-
so cool that place is still around too. The Sand Dollar is
right.
such an amazing place, man.
Yeah, yeah. So
Are
that
you
was
hey, are you full time back in Vegas now?
oh yeah, dude. Roots are planted. Yes.
The wife came back.
Yeah,
She's
the
back.
wife and grandson, they
Nice.
moved back right before Christmas. So that was kind of
Yeah.
my Christmas present. But
Cool.
yeah, I'm a man of a million hobbies, and I never do any of them as much as I want to, right? And it's not that anybody takes me away from them. Obviously, it's work, and everybody's got to work and do that thing, but I don't want anybody to think that they keep me away from that stuff. It's just trying to plan it. And so obviously my resolution is just to do the things I like to do more, and when you see someone that is going through something and they're having regrets, it really makes you kind of reevaluate yourself, so that's why, I want to do the paranormal stuff more. I want to do this podcast more, and I got to figure out how to do that. I've got to figure out a plan to make this happen. I want to do this a lot more, and uh, I like playing. As here's the Stranger Things nerd in me, dude. I like playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I don't play it enough. And it's fun, and I'm, like I said, I'm just a man of a million hobbies, and it would take up every day of the week, and I just really got to plan on how to balance everything. But
That's
yeah.
so funny that you said D&D because I was just watching that movie Airheads the other day.
Oh, right, right.
And
Chaz.
Lemmy's in it. Yeah, Chaz was the singer's name. And Lemmy goes, I play D&D too. Or he says, I used to play Dungeons and Dragons or whatever he says.
Right, right. God bless Lemmy. So that's kind of my resolution, is to just do stuff more that I want to do,
Well, that's what it's
and
all about. That's what it's all about,
right,
man. We're not supposed to be slaves to the system. We're not supposed to work
right,
these, 40-hour work weeks, like this. Like it's supposed to be about the family unit and doing what you
right.
enjoy. It's not we're not supposed to be slaves like this, man.
Right. Yeah, and that it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to balance stuff out. So let's get to the Here's the Thing podcast.
All right.
What do we have in store for, like, if you could give me one guest, the ultimate guest, that if you could have this person on your podcast, even if it was for 15 minutes, who would it be? It could be anybody, dude. Dead or alive, it doesn't matter.
Probably Joe Rogan.
Why?
Just because I want to pick his brain a little bit and feel his vibe. I met missing him. He came into a pool hall that I worked at many years ago because he's a pool player. And
Right.
he went into Mickey's Q's and Brews, which was in Vegas there, and sadly it's no longer there. But he came in when I wasn't working, so I was kind of bummed. But no, he just seems like a cool guy, and I appreciate you know how he has all kinds of different people on different perspectives. He's got a very open mind. But at the same time, it seems like the last couple of years he may be sold out. He kind of has flip-flopped on some of his views. So I don't know, but he seems like an interesting dude to talk to. Um, dude, I have a guest that I'm supposed to record with in 2 days. I'm super excited. I hope it comes through. The original drummer from White Zombie is supposed to come on the cast. So I'm hoping we
What
get
was
this
that
done.
guy's name?
Ivan DePrume.
Yes, Ivan DePrume. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've been talking to him for 6 months, about coming on. We set a date, so hopefully he's coming on this week. And then I got the bass player from Metal Church next week. I'm excited to talk to him. So,
Yeah,
and then
see,
tomorrow I'm talking to Clive Christopher, who he produces the documentaries of
yes.
Aliens Uncovered.
Yes, yes. I remember you didn't put me in touch with him, but you brought him to my attention.
Oh, dude, I'll
And
get you in touch with him. I'll get you in touch with him because he would be
there's
great for your cast. You guys would have a good conversation for sure.
yeah, that's another thing. That's another resolution of mine. I've got to figure this out real quick if I'm going to kind of continue what I've been doing, which is kind of all over the place, or if I try to narrow it down and focus on something, because the problem that I see is I get all of the notifications for all the podcasts that are kind of like mine, when a new episode comes out, but I only listen to like two or three of them.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes me realize that may be the case. That may be what I'm falling victim to, is there may be people out there getting notifications when I put one out, which is way too far in between. I need to do it on a regular basis, but they're not listening to mine because there's so many other ones out there that are putting something out, two,
Well, I
3 times a week.
I think it's more than that though. It's you're a victim of the algorithm, as am I. Where we don't get seen in the algorithm. You know,
Right.
um, and it's tough. Like with X specifically, they keep moving the parameters on monetization and how you get viewed. You know, and it's just like it's a never-ending battle of trying to get in the good graces of the algorithm. You know.
But there seems it almost seems to be that the people that to me, I think it would be part of its consistency,
Yeah.
right? You say, I'm going to put out a new podcast every week on this specific date, and you do it, and therefore you hit the algorithm more. Me, I never hit the algorithm because I very rarely put something out, and I just need to. It's hard for me to reach out to people and try to book people, just
That's the hardest part for me too.
because it seems that there's so many podcasts out there trying to get people on that they don't, they're either burned out because everybody's hitting them up, or they don't want to do it because everybody's hitting them up. And I reached out to a guy that I had heard for years. I heard him years ago on the Art Bell show, right? And I reached out to him, and the first thing he said, "Well, you can start by buying my book." And I get it, but it kind of took me off guard. But it's almost the same thing, like when a bar says, "Oh, we're not going to pay you as a band.
We're gonna pay you an exposure.
yeah." And so at first I was kind of taken aback by it, but it's the same thing, and I understand it. You know what I mean? Like I would never say, "Well, I'm not buying your book, F you." No, I completely understand what he's talking about. Because for that person to donate an hour or two to talk to me out of their busy life and potentially get nothing out of it because I'm not doing the stuff on my end to make sure that my
But
show
but
is better.
but Chaz, they're getting exposure.
Right, right. I can't even pay them in chicken wings, dude.
Dude, I paid guitar players in chicken wings before, man. I don't want to call him out. I'm not going to name him, but I booked this guy a couple of times and he always wanted to be paid in chicken wings. I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude?
And dude, chicken wings are expensive too.
Yeah. They weren't
Wow.
even good wings. Like they were shitty fucking wings. Like
Nice. Yeah, but I mean that's the tough thing. Like the algorithm, and you're way more into it than I am. And you've helped me in the past, and I know you've still got the thing going with Ted and the boys, because I haven't listened to that in a while, it doesn't pop up on my algorithm anymore.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like I was talking to my girl this morning actually, and she's like, you never come up in my feed. And like, she's always reposting my stuff, always commenting on my stuff, and like, oh, she's tagged in a lot of stuff, and I never come up in her feed. And she's got notifications on.
Right.
It's wild.
And I think they change it up constantly. As soon
Oh
as
yeah.
somebody figures it out, they change it.
Oh yeah.
And because they don't want to pay anybody.
So check this out. We did a live stream on Saturday night. I'm joining a new podcast, by the way. So let me announce this here is I'm joining the Pick Is In podcast, which is a sports betting podcast, which my good friend Haywood hosts, and I'm going to be joining him as the co-host. Jonah's leaving the show. You know Jonah.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm going to be doing that, and I have I have 1,000 views on it just from Saturday night, and X is showing like 2. Like,
Oh wow.
how's that even possible?
So
Like,
when you're going live, are you only going live on X?
no, we go live on every platform. Oh, well, not every, but we go X, YouTube, Rumble, and I think Spotify. And sometimes we go on Substack too. So it just depends.
Right. And I know you guys have that whole Substack thing going, and I mean, you've got hats, and how is the
Got
the
shirts,
whole
Wu-Tang Clan.
right? I mean, you guys are pushing it pretty hard. Obviously, you're making some sort of revenue out of it.
You know what? No. I mean, I haven't seen a dime. I mean, there's a few bucks coming in from X, but that's all from impressions and views. I could be doing that without the podcast, probably, you
Right.
know.
Right.
But and everything, any dollars that do get made go right back into it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like we're putting out a lot of stuff. I mean, if you go to phoneboothpodcast.substack.com, you can see that we have a link to go to the merch, and we've got probably 20 shirts for sale on there. But all of that costs money. It costs money to produce podcasts, as you very well know.
Right. Oh,
Microphones aren't free. Roadcasters aren't free, you know?
well, the tough part is like for me, I can't decide exactly what I want to do. Like it's hard for me to sit down and focus and plan out a show. Like I like doing shit on the fly,
Yeah, me too.
but I also like there's a this is weird. Like I always, going back for years listening to talk radio overnight, it always seemed like it was just so off the cuff and on the fly. And then I just recently found out that that person who we're talking about, Art Bell, actually, did pre-interviews and
Yeah.
damn dogs and came up with questions and stuff like that for his guests by doing the pre-interview so that the show flowed better and they could transition from one thing to another. And the tough part is, I guess I'm just going to have to concede to the fact that I'm going to have to do that. I mean, not everybody can be off the cuff like Joe Rogan. I wanted it to just be a conversation like we're having. I
Yeah.
felt that that would be engaging enough for people, but I I am going to have to do some sort of planning on this. And again, that's another thing, I'm going to have to find time to do it. And I'm just going to have to, I almost feel like I'm going to have to nail down what I want to talk about and kind of rein it in a little bit. And I always so apprehensive about talking to other uh I like talking to musicians and stuff, but I'm always apprehensive about talking to other drummers and stuff cuz I had this weird thing happen, and this is going to completely sound like I'm tooting my own horn, and I'm absolutely not. I got to tell you this story real quick, and this will kind of wrap everything up and kind of make sense to you on why I'm such a, I can't, indecisive and can't make up my mind. So my same buddy who's sick, I was sitting there with him and his
Well,
wife.
do I know this person?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
don't think so.
Okay.
But my friend who's sick, I was sitting in the hospital with him, just having a conversation with him. We went down the road on everything. Like, he was, I asked him if he was scared. He said no. He's just scared of laying there out of it. And I said, well,
Yeah.
you're not even going to be there at that point. When your body's shutting down, you're not even going to be there. Neither here nor there at this point. But so I'm talking to him, and years ago I had sold him a drum kit. Right? He had bought a drum kit from me to help me out because I was low on funds. So I sold a drum kit to him, and that's been his personal kit. Right? And he's not a drummer, but he's recorded stuff at his house and had drummers come over, and that was a kit that was sitting there. Well, he just gave it back to me. He told me, it's yours. Take it. I'm giving it back to you just as long as you use it, make money using it. Right? So I promised him I would. But he was telling me, he's like, every drummer that comes over to my house to record or whatever, they see that kit and they know that kit was yours, and they want to use that kit because it was yours and because it sounds so good. And then everybody always says how good of a drummer you are. And I was like, nah, dude, I'm not really. And he's like, no, you don't understand. He's like, you are. And I'm like, nah, I don't see it. And he's like, that's your problem. You don't see it. He's like, you're way too modest. He's like, I get it. He's like, but you don't see it. And that's why you haven't played very much, because you don't see that. You don't think that anybody cares. He's like, more people care about your playing and admire your playing than you realize. And I thought about it on the way home, and it made sense because I'm trying to be modest and not be that person that, it's like, oh, look at me, or, but at some point it's got to be like, I've accomplished something.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that kind of ties into everything, right? Whether it be this little podcast of mine or whatever, I need to figure it out. I need to do it, and I need to figure out exactly what I'm going to do and be happy with it. And if that's continuing the way that I've been doing it, then I need to, muscle down on it and really put some time into it and make it better, because I am kind of competing with a lot of other people for it. And like I said, dude, you can't do this. It's not free.
Yeah.
And the way I'm doing it right now is I'm not paying any service for it. And therefore it's not really reaching, where it's not really doing what it could potentially be doing, which is all I want it to do is pay for itself. I have no preconceived notions of making any money from it. I just want it to pay for itself, so I don't have to go, shit, I've got to spend, the bill is due for the video platform. I got to spend $40 on that this month. I would like for it to pay for itself. And that's just part of, hunkering down and doing it more often.
Well, there's a lot
Thing,
of,
good
little
resolution,
little there's a lot of little things that go into it, It's not just like, you know, like for example, like my YouTube right now. Like, my if you go to my YouTube page, it looks like shit. It looks like I don't do much. But then you go to my X page and you're like, oh, okay, there's
Right.
something going on there, maybe.
Right.
So it's like that's because I was on X and put the time in on X and did all the other little things that, commenting and getting the impressions and getting the views and this and that. And so my account has grown. But like with YouTube, for example, and even Rumble is the same. I'm not really sure how to grow those. Also I know is that I put out, about 2 to 3 episodes every week on there. And I've been gaining followers, but I don't know how to grow it like with X. X is a different animal, you know?
Right. And I don't really do much on X. Like I'll repost a link to something on X, right? And YouTube's a weird animal. And again, I don't do enough to expect to get anything out of it, but I'll put out one episode and it'll get like 25 views, right? And that episode's like a year old. It only has like 25 views as far as what YouTube says. But yet I put out another episode with a certain guest and that episode has 2,300 views.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to try to figure out how to capitalize how that happens, and to me it's all topic, and so I've got to figure out. I don't want to do. I'm not a true crime person. There's enough of those out there.
Sure.
I'm not a 100% conspiracy guy, although I love conspiracies. I'm not just going to do a conspiracy podcast. I don't want to do just a podcast about ghosts and Bigfoot. There's so many of those out there. There's not a ton of podcasts about with drummers, but it's so hard to nail down drummers and musicians. Rick Beato's got that where he's getting everything. Would I love to talk to Neil from Journey? Absolutely. Would I love to talk to Steve Smith from Journey? Sure. Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction?
Did you
Absolutely.
see what Neil posted yesterday? Neil Sean. You're talking about Neil Sean, right?
Yeah. I didn't see what he posted
Oh,
yesterday.
dude, he posted a beautiful little tribute to Bob Weir. Rest in peace. Passed
Oh,
away.
right. I was telling my wife yesterday because obviously I'm a Dead fan, right?
I was going to comment on it, but then we just kind of
Yeah.
flowed into.
So I was watching video clips from the memorial thing that they did in San Francisco, and it was John Mayer and everything. And there's one part, and I know that I should be taking nothing away politically from it, but they pan back and everybody's dancing on stage and singing. And for fuck's sakes, there's Nancy fucking Pelosi on stage. And I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. And I shut it off of me. I'm like, I love Bob Weir and I love the Grateful Dead, but I cannot stand her. And it just ruined it for me. And it shouldn't. I mean, it's not about that at all, but it just ruined it for me.
Well, I look at it like this: she's the one there ruining the situation,
Right? And I
so,
knew, dude, it was a shot of the entire stage from far away, right? Like if you were looking from the balcony down onto the stage, and I picked her out immediately. It was the haircut, and I'm like, that is not Pelosi. So I clicked the square button to blow it up on my screen, and I'm like, oh, I'm out. I can't take it. I just can't take it.
well, that was yesterday that they did this.
And no. It was over the weekend. So maybe Saturday they did it. And like John Mayer did a beautiful
He
tribute.
tours with them now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was the guitar player doing like the Jerry parts on Dead
Mhm.
and Company, right?
Okay.
And so he did a beautiful eulogy of Bob, and then he played Bob's guitar, and they did Ripple, and it was a really cool thing. But to see Nancy Pelosi in the background just kind of ruined it for me. And I know it's not about that at all, but I was like, I'm out. I'm absolutely out. I am done with this. I don't want to see her. It just, drives me absolutely insane. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
She's been awfully quiet lately, huh?
Yeah, which scares me.
Yeah.
Either she's you had it was not to go on a big political thing, but Hakeem Jeffries was on the other day saying that if the Democrats take power again, they're going to use the Justice Department to go after and arrest all of the all of the Republicans dude, I don't want to do a political thing because I don't look enough into it. I would just be ranting and raving.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be the Alex Jones guy without the research.
They're turning the frogs gay.
It's the fluoride in the water. Yeah.
It's actually
And
the atrazine in the water.
yeah, dude, I love Alex Jones. I think he's funny, but he's he's pretty out
He
there sometimes.
Yeah, some of the things he says. Dude, so what you were saying earlier about podcasting and not having questions and whatnot, that's how I approach it too. Is
Right,
like I try not to have a set thing. I try to have a topic at least to discuss, something we're going to talk about. Like,
right.
so my episode that comes out tomorrow, that I did with Jonah, the philosopher king, Jonah Stormrider, we did a deep dive into whether or not Paul McCartney died in '66 in the car crash.
Oh, dude, you should have had me. I'm hip. I'm
You're
way
here
hip.
now, dude. We'll clip this and add it into the episode.
Did you
Um,
play any of the backwards clips? Did you play any of the
yeah,
audio?
we played a bunch of shit. But you know what? So what I was gonna say is like when it felt very uncomfortable while we were recording. It's a great episode. I'm not trying to
Right,
knock the episode, but I felt really uncomfortable while we were doing it just because I felt like I had to hit all these marks. Like I had
right,
all these clips and videos to pull up and shit to talk about. And it just felt like, for me, it felt like I couldn't get into the flow. You know what I mean?
right,
Like, whereas a conversation should just flow. Like the
right,
one we're having now. We didn't even you didn't tell me we were talking about anything today. We were
right,
just coming in to record.
right,
But and that's the way it should be. But so I felt very weird while we were recording it because I wanted to make sure I got all these clips in, all these points in. And I'm not even sure I hit everything. But
right. Yeah, that whole Paul is dead thing is pretty wild. And there used to be, what was his name? R. Gary. I think his name was R. Gary Patterson. I think that's what his name was. And he wrote a whole book on that. And I had the book at one time. I gave it to my little brother to read, but he wrote an entire book on it. I mean, there's so many clues, and the bass drum head. If you hold a mirror up to it, and
yep.
there's pictures out there that are lining up faces, and Paul McCartney's ears don't match. I mean, it's so crazy. The license plate
The
on
timing of it all
28
too is
right.
wild.
The license plate on the Volkswagen on Abbey Road's album cover.
28 if or
Yeah.
whatever it says. Yeah.
And Paul McCartney's barefoot. And I mean, there's so many things. Could they have pulled it off? Absolutely. And now, dude, there was a documentary, and I don't remember where I saw the documentary, but it's a documentary on that whole thing.
It's called The
And
Winged Beetle. And I play a bunch of clips from it in the episode. I'll send you a link to the doc.
is that the one where it's supposed to be audio clips, or it's supposed to be from audio tapes that George Harrison had recorded after his house got broken into and he was stabbed and everything, and he was wanting to
No,
come
but that's
clean
an
on the radio?
interesting thing too. But no, it's not from that.
Right. Yeah. This was a documentary where and the whole premise behind it was kind of like, Blair Witch with found footage. This was with found audio. Right. And it
Mhm.
was this documentary based on, it was some reporter in California or something. I don't remember where this reporter was, but she got this box of tapes in the mail. And on these tapes were apparently George Harrison retelling the whole story about how they had to do it. Like the British MI6 were involved, because they had to do it because they realized the
The
problems it would have caused if if the public had found out that one of the Beatles had died.
Well, it's also the Tavistock Institute is a big part of it. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but we do a whole thing in the beginning of the episode about the Tavistock Institute, and they're tied in with MI6 and
Right.
CIA and all this, and the OSS even before the CIA.
Right.
And they're supposedly the ones that catapulted these Beatles into.
Right.
Dude, this is so funny. I should have mentioned this in the episode, but so Gene Reeves, your old guitar player,
Oh yeah.
he was driving me home one night or to visit my grandfather, staying in he had a tour bus and he traveled around. And so
Right.
we were going to the RV park to drop me off. And his name was Beatles. So we pull up to the gate and Gene's like, "Hey, we're here to see the Beatles."
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a gig with Gene, not next weekend, but the following weekend in
You're
Florida.
you're going to Florida to play with Gene?
Yeah.
Tell that motherfucker to come on the Here's the Thing podcast. I messaged him and I haven't heard from him.
I'll rag on him. I'll have
Yeah,
him
say
come
what's
on.
up. Tell him I say hello and say what's
I
up.
will. I will. So yeah, there was another documentary. Well, this documentary kind of played it off that the reason that George Harrison got attacked in his house and stabbed and everything was because he was planning on coming clean and telling the story of how Paul McCartney died. So that was the premise of this documentary. So whether that's the
I want to
case
see
or not,
that
I
one.
don't know. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna look it up because I don't know exactly which one it was, and I'll hip you to the link once I find it. But it was free. It was just on. It wasn't on like Netflix or something. It was on one of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
So I'll look it
Well,
up and I'll find out.
well, what's interesting is like, and we show this clip in the episode is Heather Mills, Paul's ex-wife, says she has boxes that talk about some crazy stuff, too big to imagine, and like she gives an interview talking about it, and the guy interviewing her is like, "Well, is it infidelity? Is it this or that?" And she's like, "No, it's nothing like that. This is way bigger." And she never really says, what it is she's holding on to in this box of information, but
Yeah, but I think she's the one that got hit by a taxi or something and lost her leg, right? Heather Mills McCartney. She's the one that only had one leg.
I'm
I
gonna have
would
to
look
look
it up.
that
I
up.
think so. Heather Mills McCartney only has one leg. And she's the one that he married, and then it didn't last very long. Like it was like maybe 5 years, 6 years, seven, and it was a big legal battle for him to get
Oh,
out of that whole thing.
ironically, 13 days ago, she broke her prosthetic leg brace in an alpine skiing accident. So yes, she does have a fake leg,
Well, at least she didn't hit a tree and go out like Sonny Bono or
right?
Liam Neeson's wife. That same thing happened to her, skiing and hit a tree. One of the Kennedys had that happen to him as well. There was some Kennedy that was in a bunch of legal trouble at one point. It could be any of them, but he was like a nephew or something, and he hit a tree and took himself out when he was skiing. But yeah, dude, I think she was kind of crackers, if I remember right. She's kind of a little,
Is
if I
she
remember right.
is she the same lady that was on that show Saved by the Bell? You remember that show?
No, but there
The
was a lady that was on Saved by the Bell that's actually an OnlyFans megastar right now.
which one?
Maitland, I forget her last name, but she went on OnlyFans because she finally came out and said, "Yeah, I'm proud of it. I enjoy that stuff." She's a dirty woman, bro.
I don't even know who that is. Maitland? It's not the
Maitland
chick.
Ward.
It's oh,
If she was
Maitland
a
Ward.
principal or it's something, it had to do with something, but she's a redheaded lady, Maitland Ward, I think her name is, and she's got an
Hmm,
OnlyFans channel, and
wow.
she does good on OnlyFans.
Shit,
Her,
I'm thinking about starting an OnlyFans.
yeah. Well, now, dude, did you hear now? There's someplace in Florida they want to tax uh,
Yes,
OnlyFans like 50% of the revenue.
I heard this. Yeah, so
That's wild,
stupid. It's like, dude, they just want to tax anything and everything they can just to get money from you.
right?
But let's not get too political. I don't care if we do, but this no tax on tips is supposed to be finalized, and the no income tax for everyone is supposed to be coming soon. So
Well, that's the hope for everybody because of the tariffs that they do away with the IRS
yeah.
because of the tariffs, you know. Um, I don't know if we're ever gonna get that. I know you're not supposed to be taxed on overtime.
So let me tell you this. Like I read like probably 25 years ago, I read this book called The Federal Mafia by Irwin Schiff, who used to have a
Oh,
shop. He used to have a shop off of Sahara, if you remember, in Vegas. He
right.
had a
He had
whole
a radio show here for a long time
yeah,
too, I
yeah.
think.
He had a whole bookstore, radio show, everything, and then he went to jail. But in this, but in this book, he breaks down the tax code and says that no one is really required to pay income tax. Like
Right.
there's no real law or anything set in stone that says you have to pay income tax. Like the way it's worded is it's completely voluntary, and the only people that are semi-required is federal employees. So you might
Right.
have to,
Right.
because you technically work for the feds.
Yeah.
Fucking
I
fed.
know. Dude, speaking of federal workers, and this was an internet story, so it has to be true. If
Of
it's on the
course.
internet, it has to be true. And it was somewhere in Minnesota, postal workers were protesting ICE in Minnesota. And so federal employees were protesting federal employees, right? And I'm sitting, and it made me angry. I'm like,
As it
dude,
should.
none of this bullshit would be going on if they just let ICE do their thing. They would be in and out. This would have been over a long time ago. But for postal workers to protest, we take an oath to uphold the Constitution and defend this country. We take the same oath when we're sworn in as postal employees as military. I'm pretty much
Yeah.
sure it's the same one, to defend this country against enemy threats, foreign and domestic. We take that oath, even though we're not allowed to, we're not armed when we're doing our job. We're not allowed to be armed when we have dog spray, which is pretty much pepper spray.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we have, right? So it just blows my mind, dude. And I don't want to get into that whole thing. I just think people are fucking stupid.
That
Stupid.
that that whole situation in Minnesota is fucking wild. Like my roommate has friends there, and they were like scared to leave their house, and I'm like, what the fuck are they scared for? They're they're American citizens and they're legal. They have nothing to fear. And like, oh well, that lady just got shot and killed. She got shot and killed because she fucking rammed her car into a federal employee. That's what
Right.
they're trained to do, is shoot and stop
Right.
you.
Right.
That's what they're supposed to do. And like her brother's a cop. And I said, ask your brother if that's what they're supposed to do. Talk to your brother, because that's exactly what he would have done.
Right. And I saw a thing. You realize the only angle we haven't seen is her wife's cell phone camera that was filming. That footage hasn't come out.
Oh, I
Her
didn't even
wife
know.
hasn't
I didn't
released
even
it.
know about that.
Yeah, her wife was filming. Her wife's like, just go, baby, go. Just go. And her wife was filming on her cell phone camera. We get the cell phone footage from the cop that was going to get run over that fired the shot
Yeah.
because he was filming, but we don't get the footage from her wife. So now I think her wife may be in trouble. I
It's
don't know.
all psyops. I feel
Right.
like, even this thing I hate to say it's fake, but it just
Right.
they throw these characters at us left and right. I mean, the world is a stage,
Right.
and they throw
Well, you
these
can ask
characters
Jonah
at us.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, dude, I love talking to Jonah about shit. He's just has such an intellectual perspective on things. Like, I mean, he's the best.
Yeah, dude. Jonah's great.
Make sure you check him out tomorrow on the Here's the Thing podcast at 6 p.m. Eastern.
You got to throw that in there. Plug. We haven't plugged in the last 5 minutes. So, dude, getting back to 26, you want to talk to Rogan. I don't even know who I'd want to talk to. Dead or alive? I didn't even think about it when I asked you the question, and I knew that I would have to give an answer, and I can't even. I would love to talk to, obviously, John Bonham, but I don't know how fun that would be.
Well, you just got through saying how you don't like to talk to drummers.
I know.
What is that? Oh, you
Or
know what else we got to talk about is this whole Led Zeppelin thing. Remember, you posted something on Facebook
oh yeah,
last
if you
week.
don't like Led Zeppelin, you're wrong.
Yeah.
All
So
right, so you don't like Led Zeppelin, or you're
I
just not a
used
huge
to. I
fan?
I grew out of it somehow. I feel like it's like those pull-up diapers that you grow out of. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was a baby and I started liking music, Led Zeppelin was the best. And then as I transformed into boxer briefs, you know, I
Oh,
kind of I kind
terrible.
of I kind of lost interest.
Well, and here's why they're so great. And I'll tell you, this is why I love Led Zeppelin. And everybody's like, "Oh, he stole Stairway to Heaven, and he stole this, and he's Dazed and Confused, and he stole this." Yeah, you can get past that by going, you know what? Without Jimmy Page, we would have never had the Rain song. We would have never had Kashmir. We would have never had, um, Over the Hills and Far Away. We would have never had Heartbreaker, Black Dog. Those all those songs are right up there with Stairway to Heaven and Dazed and Confused. So maybe Dazed and Confused, yeah, they were playing it in the Yardbirds. It was just called I'm Confused, I think. Sure, he should he have taken credit for that song? Probably not. Back then they took credit for reworking it,
Okay.
you
So
know.
defend Stairway then. Go ahead.
Okay, so Defend Stairway. I've listened to the original version, or
From
that's
Spirit.
from Spirit, and it's close. I think it was inspired by, but I don't think they stole it 100%. I think it was inspired by. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Zeppelin fan and a huge Zeppelin fan. I'm saying that because I think legitimately it was inspired by. And you can go there and you can go back to the first Kingdom Come record and listen, and there's reworked Zeppelin riffs all over the place on that record.
Sure.
Sometimes they're not the main riff. Sometimes it's just a little melody thing on one of the
Well,
songs.
even a lot of Motley Crue songs. Nikki Sixx openly admits to stealing music from people.
Yeah,
But the with Zeppelin, they're part of that Tavistock Institute too, and a lot of the stuff with the Tavistock Institute ties back to Aleister Crowley.
right. Well, you know what else ties back to Aleister Crowley was a lot of the old secret societies and
Yeah.
the whole UFO thing back in the 30s and 40s and 50s. And if anybody wants to hear some more about Aleister Crowley and the whole UFO thing and the secret societies, I've actually interviewed Dr. Alan Greenfield twice on here. And one of them was just maybe 4 or 5 months ago on this podcast last year. I interviewed him about secret societies and stuff. And we talk about Crowley a little bit. And it's pretty interesting. I mean, Crowley gets tied with the whole satanic thing a lot, but it was much more than that.
Hmm.
Like the satanic part was just a small aspect of it. There's a much more uh, thing that goes into the whole thing with secret societies. And I mean, it has to do with NASA, and it has to do with, if you look at Aleister Crowley, the same thing could be said for L. Ron Hubbard. It's kind of the same weirdness, starting a religion and some of the secrets that go behind it. It's a whole thing, man. If you want to hear some of that stuff, I can't recount it off the top of my head. You'd have to go back and watch my episodes or listen to my episodes with Dr. Alan Greenfield. It's pretty interesting stuff. And he's such a character. He's been around. He was uh into that whole, like, when you get into the UFO stuff and you hear about some of these pioneers in the UFO field from like the 40s and 50s, he was right there with those people. And he's the one to talk to get the inside story on a lot of those people from back in the day, like John Keel with the whole Mothman, the Mothman prophecies. He was knee deep in that. He knows stuff about all those people. He's a good guy to talk to. And the first episode I did with him, we talked more about the UFOs and stuff like that. And then the second episode I did with him, I wanted to talk more about secret societies, and we got into that stuff too.
Do
So
you do
that
you
he's
think
the guy to listen to.
what do you think of UFOs? Are they I mean, where are these UFOs coming from? Are they I don't think they're alien, but I don't think they're government necessarily either. Like what
Well,
are they?
I here's what I think. I think some of them are ours. I some of them could be alien technology with aliens. I mean, there's if you go on YouTube and you look up Turkey alien UFO footage, there's footage that was shot from the beach of a UFO off the coast of Turkey, and I don't remember the name exactly. But the camera zooms in and you can see occupants in the UFO and they look like your typical grays. And this footage is real. It's not bullshit. It's not AI. It's been around forever before AI was ever even a thing, right? It was been around before the best part of AI ran down its mama's leg. You know what I mean? It's been around that long. The Turkish UFO footage. It's from
I'm
like
look-
1989 or the 90s or something.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, and it's
But do
legit.
you think it's possible that they're coming from either like the sea or like lands beyond the ice wall?
Oh, the ice wall. I see where you're going. So, do I think the Earth is flat? No, Ted. I don't think the Earth is flat. Do I
Okay,
think
first of
there's an
all,
ice
my
wall?
name is Snoop, not Ted.
I know. Well, yeah, but Ted's gonna. If Ted by chance pops in and watches this, am I in? Do I want to know why people think the Earth is flat? Yeah, I'd love to talk to somebody. I'd love to have somebody, throw down the wisdom because I haven't looked into it. I just personally believe it's not. But anything's possible. I mean, are there bases underground? Mount Shasta comes to mind. Dulce in New Mexico comes to mind.
Yeah,
It's sure there could
yeah,
be. Could there be stuff under the oceans? Yeah, because we can't. Some of those trenches in the ocean, like the Marianas Trench, we can get to the bottom of it, but dude, you're talking 10 miles down underwater. It's like 50
yeah.
some thousand feet, I think. Maybe not. Maybe not that deep. But we don't know what's down there underneath all of that water. We have no idea. The oceans, we've searched not even 1% of those things, I think, is the current situation. Less than 1% we know what's down there. So could there be something down there? Yeah, because people report seeing stuff come in and out of the water all the time. There's pictures. I think they're from Antarctica or something that were taken of a cigar shaped UFO coming in and out of the water, and they're black and white pictures, so they're older pictures, but those are supposed to be legit. Is there,
There's a lot of accounts of people going beyond the ice wall too. Why aren't we allowed to go to Antarctica? Why aren't flight paths allowed to cross Antarctica? Like what?
right? Well, Admiral Byrd and
Admiral Byrd.
the center of the earth going there. There's so many stories, and there's stories about Antarctica and you know big black pyramids under the ice and
Hmm.
ancient technology buried under the ice and stuff going on there. So who knows? I mean, all of that stuff could be real. I mean, would it shock you if they came out at this point and said that there was alien technology buried under the ice in Antarctica and that's why we can't go? If you heard that, would you be shocked? No.
Well, no, but isn't it ironic that Antarctica is the only place on Earth that there's a treaty amongst all the nations for peace?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what is that?
I don't know, man. There's something going on
And
down there.
anybody that tries to get close, they silence them.
Right.
Like there's a bunch of flat earthers went down there to try to prove the 24-hour sun, and they, shut them all down. Mr. Beast, you know who that Mr. Beast
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
is? He
Yeah.
supposedly went down there and says there's a bunch of shit he can't talk about down there. It's just
Well,
like,
sure, but I mean, I could disappear off this podcast, off of all social media for 2 months and come back and say that I went down there and there's shit I can't talk about. You know what I mean? It
yeah,
Anybody could say that.
it's
You
all
know,
a scam.
right? Linda Moulton Howe's done numerous podcasts where she's talked with people that have gone down there, military people that have gone down there and kind of gave her the skinny on what's going on down there. They're all like whistleblowers, they're all anonymous. That kind of, to me, that kind of falls under the same thing of, last year when we got those scans of the pyramids, and that, they're saying that there's stuff, you know, thousands of meters or hundreds of meters underneath, buried under the pyramid. It's like big batteries or big chambers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's very possible. I mean, we can't build the big pyramids today. Who built them?
So, are you familiar with like Tartaria?
No,
Have you heard of it?
no.
Tartaria, they say, is like an ancient land that has supposedly been removed from history. And I'm probably going to butcher the description, so please don't quote me on any of this. But like there's a lot of like ancient buildings that they think are associated with this old world. Like there was a great reset that happened. You know,
Right.
like in like some of these buildings, like there's buildings beneath them underground and whatnot, and like they say there's like a mud flood that covered
Oh,
over everything, and like and you look at some of these older buildings that over the years, like we can't replicate those today. Our
right.
modern constructions can't do these type of buildings.
Right.
you know
I mean, look at some of the way the blocks fit together for the pyramid and how
Mhm.
accurately they're cut.
Yeah.
And they want to tell us that these ancient Egyptians were able to had certain techniques for cracking rocks.
Well, they want to say that they want to say that they did all this stuff without power tools and without
Right.
machinery.
Right. And they moved those blocks. How the hell they move those blocks? The ramp to get the blocks all the way up to the very top of that had to be miles long.
Yeah. The only thing that I've ever seen that kind of made sense when it came to that was they used like a water system to raise it. Like they would use water to raise them somehow.
Right.
But I'm a
Where's the
fucking
water?
dummy, so I don't know nothing.
Well, that like the guy, the Coral Castle guy down in Florida. He built that castle, and some of those blocks of coral weigh multiple, 2-3 tons. And how did he move them? And there's stories about how the guy trucked in a block of coral corner, and then when you come back, you'll be ready to go. And the guy goes around the corner, the coral's still on his truck. He comes back 2 minutes later, the coral's sitting on the ground. And it's just one little skinny bastard that was able to get that thing off the back of that truck. And nobody ever saw him moving this coral around. And there's a door that swings, and it weighs tons, and you can just push it with your finger and move it, have
Yeah.
it swing. And that door weighs tons. So it's pretty wild, and some people say that it was done with resonance, sound waves. And
Sound
so
waves.
there's all kinds of crazy theories out there. And those could be topics for podcasts later on down the road. But, sometimes you think, man, how many times has people talked about that? So I'll just have to figure that whole podcast thing out. So for 2026, you're talking about figuring out the algorithm so that you can get more views and more impressions and get more stuff happening with the podcast. And I've told you this numerous times, the amount of work you guys put into that, I wish I had the time to do it. And I wish I had the gumption to do it, to figure it out, because I think you guys have got it figured out to an extent.
Well, Ted works a full-time job and is able to somehow do it all. Like I'm amazed, with what he does. I'm like, how the fuck do you post all this all day long and do all this while maintaining a full-time job? Like, I mean, it's incredible. And now with the phone booth production company, I don't even know how many podcasts are on there now. I think there's like 7 or 8 maybe.
Right.
And it's like there's always content coming out. Like Saturday night, dude, I did 3 podcasts on Saturday night just from within our little group.
Right.
It's like it's crazy how much we've grown just in, maybe 7 months, I think, since we started the phone booth productions.
Right. And do you guys have like a late night podcast, or is it just like all roughly throughout the day and early
Well,
evening?
like the Pick is In podcast comes out on Saturday nights right now at 11 p.m. Eastern, but that's getting ready to change once football season is over. That's going to be changing to, I don't know the times yet.
Right.
And then Vince does his dualistic podcast whenever the fuck he wants, and because he's on Sweden time, it could be any time of day.
Right.
You know? So, but I mean, there's like every day of the week, you know, someone from Phone Booth is putting something out.
Right. Well, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. So, who initiated the whole phone booth thing? Was that Ted that started the whole thing?
Well, it kind of grew out of the Phone Booth podcast, which was Bill and Ted and Rufus and Death.
Right.
And you know, Bill, Rufus, and Death all kind of left at the same time for different reasons, had nothing to do with Ted. It was just like weird timing. And
Right.
then Vince and I kind of came into the picture. You know, it was all really weird timing how all of it kind of came together, you know. And then me and Vince and Jonah all came into the picture at the same time as that happened. Like I was going on the Phone Booth to do my first episode that I ever recorded with Phone Booth like the week that all of them left. I didn't know they were not going to be there, so it ended up just being me and Ted.
Right.
And then it just kind of grew out of this. And like I had messaged Ted after our recording, and I said, "Hey man, you know, if you need a co-host or something, you know, I can jump on and help you out. You know, I don't know a lot about some of the topics you talk about, but I can interject here and there with the little bit of knowledge I do have, you know." And he really appreciated that, and that's why he brought me in, you know. And it was just really random timing. It was not planned at all. I didn't plan on having a podcast, you know what I mean? Like it was like something I wanted to do, and then when this all came together, you know, I still wasn't sure, and then he just kind of pushed me and pushed me to get it out there. And you did too, you know, because I remember, you know, I was talking to you a lot about it in the beginning too, you know,
Yeah.
just
And
getting out and doing it.
yeah. And you got hooked up into something where you guys do put out consistent content, and you have a network of each other to push each other's content. So that helps as well. I was giving you advice on doing it, and then you kind of flipped it back on me. And I just have the hardest time. Like I have this phobia about sitting down and doing it by myself for an hour.
It's
And
tough.
I've done it, and I've listened back to it, and sometimes it works okay and other times it doesn't work. But
Ugh.
I just have this phobia about, and that's why I think I play drums. And I can't sing, but I don't know if I could ever be a singer and front the band. I think, this, a lot of guitar players say that when they transition from being a guitar player to singer, that they have a hard time doing it because they are not hiding behind a guitar. And maybe I should do the podcast sitting behind a set of drums. Maybe
Dude,
that
you know what?
that's
That
what
that's actually a great idea. It would be a unique perspective, a unique podcast, you know. You know, just sitting at a drum. You don't even have to play them, just talk, just with the drums right in front of you, you know.
right. Well, I just got this desk, and a desk, it's one of the ones that raises up and down,
Oh, that's neat.
and I thought, okay, well now maybe I should just do the podcast standing up the entire time.
That's what Vince has been doing lately. He's been standing up the whole podcast.
Right. And I wonder how that would work. It would kind of force you to keep the timing shorter. So nobody wants to stand up for 2.5, 3 hours. But
Well, I mean, a lot of people do that for work every day, you know. I mean, bartenders, they're on their feet the whole day, you know.
right. Yeah, I'll figure it out, man. And I just got to put the time in, I guess. I got to find the time to do it. So,
Well, you know, it's about figuring out like the goal, you know, like where you want to go with it. You know, it's not about you got to figure out what you want to do before you put the time in. You know, you can't
right.
just be putting time in without having a clear
Right.
destination of where you're going, you know.
And like I said, I just want it to pay for itself. I don't need to make money from it. But I also realize that I need to do it more.
Yeah.
because I've already put out every single thing that I've ever done, which is 34 episodes. I've found and went through everything that I've done. So I've already put that out. So now I got to start getting new stuff. So I'll do it. But 2026, man. Let's make sure we keep each other busy on this and keep each
Yeah.
other in check
Yeah.
on this. And so podcast aside, where do you want to go in it? Like, what do you want if you had to look back on 2026? What would you want to have accomplished on 2026 outside of the podcast?
Outside of the podcast, well, I'm in a new relationship with a female, and I hope to grow this and maybe travel a little bit, and go see a couple places. There's some spots we've been talking about wanting to go see. So, you know, it's nice to connect with someone. So I'm hoping that, 26 can grow that a little more, you know.
Oh, that's good, dude. That's noble. She's a lucky person to have you. You're lucky to have her, I'm sure. And there you go, man. Let's make it happen for you.
Yeah,
So
we went we
everybody
went
out
we
there,
went to the Grand Canyon last week, and what a trip that was.
I've never been there. I've
Never?
never
Damn,
been.
dude, you live
Never.
right by it.
I know. Never been there. I've flown over it, of course, but I've
Yeah.
never been there.
Dude,
So
get this. We got stuck in the snow, right? And
right.
so we had to get towed out. And while we're waiting for the tow truck, this random couple pulls up and offering help. And I was like sitting in the passenger seat, and I guess maybe they didn't see me. And they rolled up to her like, "Hey, do you need help?" And I kind of peeked my head around the corner from her, and I was like, "Oh no, we got a tow truck on the way. So unless you got some rope or something that you could pull us out, or some chains or something, I don't know what you could do." And he goes, "Oh, I thought you were alone." And he walked back to his car, and I was like, "Oh shit." I think I just stopped you from getting trafficked. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. Let her know about the water bottle on her fender,
Yeah.
on her wheel well. Yeah. So that's not good that happened, but I'm glad that you've got that going, and good for you, man. It's about
Yeah.
time. It's about
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. It's
Not to make it
exciting.
sound like you've
What
never,
the fuck,
you know,
bro?
as soon
Why
as I said
why
that,
you
I'm
why
like,
you
oh,
why you hating? Calling me
yeah,
out.
yeah, right. No, man, that's good. I I think for me, like I just want to find the time to do the things I enjoy and do them more. I've been watching a lot of videos. There's this guy, God damn it, I can't remember. And I've been Uncanny Explorer, I think is the guy. He's on YouTube. I want to interview this guy because he goes out and he does it predominantly here in Nevada. And he goes out like he's hiked up to Tickaboo Peak and overlooked Area 51 and
Dude,
done
how
all these
how
cool hikes.
fun hey, how fun would it be to fucking climb Tickaboo and do a podcast from the top?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any
Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi up there, but it would be. I would climb up there. I mean, you can
Dude, I
drive a
think if you
certain
got
distance.
Starlink, you could probably make it happen, right?
If you had Starlink, you could do it. I know there's a tower up there with a camera up there, which is probably the military kind of keeping an eye on who's climbing Tickaboo Peak. But I'd like to go up there. I'd like to climb up there. I know the hike isn't the easiest one, but I'd
Well, you
like to
can
go up
you
there
can
just to say,
drive most of the way, can't you? And then it gets to a certain point where you gotta start
yeah,
hiking, but
because the trail gets washed out. I
yeah.
think maybe if you had a razor or something like that, you could
Yeah, I've
go
seen motorcycles go up quite a ways.
right. But I think this guy is the Uncanny Explorer. I think is his YouTube channel. And I'll give him a plug just because I've been watching a lot of his stuff. And what he's by himself, and he just gets on his little Honda. It looks like a moped. He says motorcycle. It's not a motorcycle. It's like a fucking moped. I think the only thing he doesn't have to do is pedal to get it started.
Right.
But he goes up and checks out all these cool little places, and his channel is pretty cool. And I'd like to check out some stuff like that, because there's one thing I do want to hike up to is the plane crash on Mount Potosi where Carol Lombard died. there's still plane wreckage up there. There's like parts of the engine and stuff like that. I'd like to go up
Remind me
there.
who Carol Lombard was. She was married to a Nevada politician or something, right?
No, Clark
Carol
Gable.
Oh, Clark Gable.
She was married to Clark Gable. When her plane crashed, Clark Gable sat at the Pioneer Saloon in Good Springs and waited for word on whether she survived or not. He sat at the bar.
Wow.
So I would like to do that hike. And from what I understand, that hike's pretty rough. But I would
Well,
like to hike up there.
we were talking about hiking down the Grand Canyon, but it's like 7-mile hike down. And then you
Yeah,
have to camp overnight. You can't do it all in a day.
right. And you know what I would never do? Ride one of those mules down to the bottom. You can kiss my ass on that. I'm not getting on an
No
animal
pun
that's got a
intended.
mind of its own. Right. I'm not getting on the back of an animal that could just freak out and jump over the side as you're on the back of it. And what's wild to me, like I said, I've never been there, so I don't know the magnitude. I've only seen pictures. But there's people that fall over the edge all the time and
Well,
die.
dude, that's what I couldn't believe. And I was there when I was a little kid, but I kind of vaguely remembered it. But when we went just last week, I couldn't believe how close you could get to the edge. Like there's points that have railings where most people go by railings, but there's points that you could just walk right over to the edge. I mean, we were literally going right up to the edge and taking pictures, looking down at it.
Have
You
you
know?
ever been to Niagara Falls?
No, but that's on our list. Yeah.
Okay, I went there about probably 10 years ago. Well, we were at a band gig in New York and we flew. But dude, there's the little fence where right as the water's rushing by to go over the falls, the little fence is only like 3 feet high. You can step over it and jump in that water and go over Niagara Falls.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and that water's cooking
That's how
too.
it is at the Grand Canyon too. It's like literally that high.
And somebody could be backing up. Yeah, just back up just a little bit, and fall over, and you're done. You're literally done, dude. Nobody's ever going to find your body. That just blows my mind. But yeah, I want to get out more and do stuff like that. Like I want to hike the tunnels up above the dam. I've always wanted to hike
I
those
thought you were
tunnels.
gonna say beneath Las Vegas.
Oh no, no.
I was like, you want to check out the mole?
Yeah, the moles, right? Chud. The cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff I want to do. It's just finding time to do it. So that's
Yeah.
where 2026 is going. And I made a promise to my buddy that I would play drums more and gig more. And I kind of shying away from that because I don't want to get wrapped up in that again. But I promised him I would. He's
You don't
like,
want to
that's
get
my
you don't want to
deathbed
get wrapped
wish.
up in playing the drums again?
Not for a living. I don't want to be. I don't want to
What?
know that I have somewhere to be every
Why?
weekend
Why? Because
because I don't want to. There's other stuff I want to do too.
but I
If that
mean,
makes sense.
what if you could drum, those nights and then have your days free to do whatever?
Well, I'm never going to be able to get away from my day job because I have to have it.
Yeah.
It's a good job. And it's an easy job. It's not a hard job. Delivering mail is an easy job. It's not hard. Even though I'm trying to be, trying to move up a little bit, that's a little bit tougher. But as a male person, just a mail carrier, I can go back to it anytime. And just doing that is not hard.
Have you considered transitioning to a female carrier?
Well, sure. I know a couple of those. But yeah, it's not hard, and that would actually probably give me more time to do the other stuff that I want to do. But
Dude, I want to go on a ghost trip with you, man. Like I want to go check that shit out.
dude, where you're in Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you'd have to meet me halfway somewhere. So I got to find somewhere to go halfway.
Dude, you know where we also went last week was Jerome, Arizona.
Oh, right. Driving up that windy road up to the top. Yeah. I've never been there either.
Yeah, dude, that place was dope, man. That would be a good place to go. Check out that haunted hotel, or it used to be a
Oh,
hospital, I think.
yeah. Yeah. I dig places like that. We did that. We did that haunted hotel in Goldfield that we had been wanting to get into. We did that about it. It's been about a year and a half ago. That was pretty good. We got some decent stuff out of that. You can find. I put together like a little 5-minute compilation of everything that I thought was noteworthy as far as what people might consider evidence, and I put that up on YouTube under my Desert Paranormal Research page. That's up there. And I'm probably going to change that out. I'm probably going to change the name of that and start something new on that as well. But I've got a lot of plans, and now I just have to execute them.
Execution.
So, right.
That's what it's
So,
about.
dude, we're about a hour and a half into this thing.
Yeah, I got about a 30 minutes before I got a hard out.
Right, right. So that's what I'm saying. We can go ahead and wrap this up. But I just wanted you to be the first one to come on for the new year. And because I wanted to surprise you and figure out what the hell you were going to do, what you wanted to do for
You're
2026.
53, Chaz.
Yeah, that didn't make the audio recording. No, but yeah, so we're into 2026. So the last 2026 question as we're wrapping this thing up. What do you see happening in 2026?
Oh man. Dude, you know, who the fuck knows? I don't have a crystal ball. And there's a lot going on right now. Like all these EU countries are saying that they're scared that the United States is going to release alien proof or proof of aliens. Like that's a big thing just popping off right now.
Yep.
So who knows? Who knows? There's supposed to be some crazy shit happening in August that we're gonna lose gravity for so many seconds or some
Oh,
shit.
7 seconds. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man.
Well,
I don't.
make sure.
I try not to worry about the whole year. I just worry about tomorrow or today. Like what am I doing today that's gonna help tomorrow?
Right. It's funny. I see all the videos that people put these videos out of what's going to happen when the 7 seconds of gravity goes away. And it's just like they just show the people floating up. Well, everything else is going to go too. All the rocks in your desert
Right.
landscaping, the cars are going to go. If
Yeah.
it's not tethered to the ground, bro, it's going. So my suggestion is in August, everybody chain yourselves to a tree.
Right. Well, it's
A
like
big
that.
tree that has deep roots.
That three-eye atlas was supposed to fuck us up. What
Right.
happened with that? Nothing.
Nothing.
And you know what's funny about that three-eye atlas is like I learned right before it passed the Earth, like it's not even coming within 25 million miles. Like, what are we worried about?
Right.
Like,
Well, everybody thought it was a spaceship, and it was this and that and the other thing. And I mean, you get so jaded after a while that
yeah,
you don't pay attention to that shit anymore. Like for prime an example, we were talking about, you brought up the disclosure and the aliens, and you read, me being a huge UFO guy and into all that fringe stuff and all that crazy stuff, I don't even watch half that stuff anymore.
yeah,
Like, when Rogan has a guest on, I'll listen to it for like an hour and then I'll bounce. Like,
yeah.
I'm so jaded now. And that's the tough part when I want to talk to these people that deal with UFOs. I don't even know what to ask because I'm so jaded at this point. And I don't want them to tell the same story that they've told everybody else, but I don't even know where to begin with it, where to take it.
Well, that's funny because like when like Clive Christopher, the guy I'm talking to next week, he produces the Aliens Uncovered documentaries. Like when he came on the Phone Booth podcast, I was concerned because I know how Ted feels about UFOs and aliens and stuff like that. So I was like, oh man, this could go either way. Like,
Right.
but like it turned into an amazing conversation, which if any of you out there want to check out, go to phoneboothpodcast.substack.com. It's free. You can watch it. Just search Clive Christopher. And amazing discussion with this guy, and he goes out and films all these anomalies from here. He goes up into Nevada too, but he's got a ton of stuff in Arizona. And I
Right.
mean, some of the stuff he puts out is amazing.
Right.
And I mean, it's on Netflix, it's on Tubi, it's on Prime. Like he's all over the place.
Yeah, and here I am bitching about this podcast, and there's that guy that's out there just killing it.
Dude, it's crazy how he started out too, like just with a fucking iPhone,
Right.
like it's pretty wild. I'm gonna get into some of it tomorrow with him, and
Cool.
and get into some of his roots and stuff because we both grew up here in the valley. So
Right. Okay.
yeah, I'm excited.
Well, they say that Donald Trump already has his disclosure speech prepared.
Yeah, they say he died in 1989 too. So
Yeah.
who
And
knows,
and his son's a time traveler. You know that
dude? I
Donald
have
Trump.
those books. I have the books, The Marvelous Baron Trump. I
I've got to
have.
get those books.
Yeah,
You know,
I have digital copies of them.
his uncle
John
John was the one that went in and grabbed the stuff out
Tesla.
of Tesla's.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
pretty wild. So,
yeah.
all right, dude.
I
Well,
believe it. I believe it, dude. I believe that he got those documents and they're concealing them.
here's the new thing. You know that at Mar-a-Lago, there's what is claimed to be a replica of the Ark of the Covenant,
Okay.
and it's gold and everything. You've heard about this, right? You can look it up. There's pictures of it at Mar-a-Lago. Well, now the new thing is, what if that's not a replica? What if that's actually the Ark of the Covenant?
Oh shit.
So
I'm gonna
there's a new conspiracy to throw at
I'm gonna look
Jonah.
into it. Yeah.
All right, dude. Well, here's to 2026, and here's to you and your new relationship and everything going good with that. And here's to me getting my shit together on so many different fronts.
Yes, get it together, man. Because,
All right.
dude, I believe in you, man. Your podcast is amazing. You just have to get it out there.
Right.
Be
We'll get it.
consistent. That's what you told me in the beginning is
Right.
consistency.
Yeah, and I'm a hypocrite. I'm terrible. Don't ever fucking listen to me. All right, dude. I
All right,
love you, man. Enjoy the rest
love
of
you,
your day.
brother. Good to
Go
talk to
spend
you,
it with
man.
your girl.
All right, brother. Thank you. Thanks for
Yes,
having me.
sir, dude. You got it,
Later.
man. Take care.
Later.
Later. So there you go. The one and only Snoop Von Poop laying down the law, laying down the justice, laying down the wisdom. So, all right, everybody. This is episode 35, I think, but episode 1 of the new year. More to come. I just got to get my shit together and do it. So, again, I always ask, please, if there's anybody that you think I would that would be interested in coming on, that's got something interesting to say. I don't care what it is, as long as it's not illegal. Hit me up. Let me know. If you want to be a guest, hit me up. Let me know. Everybody's got a story to tell. So let's do it. So again, I'm going to play the intro music as an outro because I screwed up earlier. So here we go. I'm going to do that. And then again, everybody have a great Martin Luther King Day and new content coming up soon. Take care.